Good afternoon to all the viewers and welcome back to ICCA Live, World-Class Culinary Online. Today we have the third session in the series of webinars on Mediterranean cuisine, and it is on Flavours of Italy. I will now hand over to our host, Shanaz Raja, Director of Courses at the ICCA Dubai. Over to you, Shanaz.
Thank you, Karun. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Cooking with Chef Sergio from our Faculty of Cookery here at the International Center for Culinary Arts in Dubai. Our Vasco da Gama, as we have nicknamed him for this series of webinars, has started his journey with the flavors of Portugal, then went on to Spain, and now is in Italy. Chef Sergio is from South Africa and has been a chef instructor at the ICCA for over 2 years now. And he has been working in the food industry for over 12 years before that. Chef Sergio, we look forward to enjoying this webinar with you, and do describe the flavors in detail as you go so we can feel it as you cook. Over to you, Chef.
Thank you, Shanaz, and welcome. Buongiorno. Ciao. Welcome to ICCA Live. I'm your Chef Sergio, and this is Chef Ben. Today I am going to be sharing with you two lovely recipes from, obviously, Italy, which one is going to be a traditional soup called the Minestrone soup, and we are also going to be making a delicious lasagna. Yeah? Are you ready, Chef? Of course, Chef. Are you keen for this?
Yes, Chef.
Good stuff. Anyway, so today I'm going to be starting off with our lasagna. Yeah, I'm going to be cooking off our bolognese. Then we're going to be making our bechamel sauce. Yeah. Then we will go on to be making some fresh pasta. From there, I will be assembling our lasagna. While that is in the oven, we will start off with our minestrone soup. And by the time our soup is done, our lasagna should be done in the oven. And then we can present and obviously lick our lips. Yeah?
Yes.
So you ready? Okay, so let's get started. Right. This should have actually been on already. Oops, that's gone off. All right, so anyway, we can go through our ingredients for now. For our bechamel, we are going to go equal parts flour, yes, and equal parts butter. We got a small onion with a bay leaf. I've put the cloves inside the onion. This just makes it easier for when we actually want to take it out of our milk. We don't need to actually scoop everything out, yeah? So it just makes it a lot easier to take out. And then obviously we got our milk. So this will be for our bechamel, which we shall be making. Then for our bolognese, I've got a basic celery, yeah? We got onions, carrots, garlic, a little bit of rosemary chopped up. We got our whole peel tomatoes, and we have our tomato paste, and obviously the main ingredients will be our lean mince. Right, so shall we get started? This is on. Let's pop this on here quickly. Okay, grab us a little spatula over there, Chef. Awesome. So what I shall be starting with here is with a little bit of olive oil, right? Gonna pop a little bit of olive oil in that pan. There we are. Okay, pop that over there. Then we're gonna start off with our basic mirepoix, which is our celery, carrots, and onions. We'll throw that in. Start stirring that up, Chef. Just a little. Okay, it's going to get a little hot there, so let's push that down. Sweet, perfect. Right. Then I'm going to be throwing in my garlic with our onions. Perfect. Now, you don't exactly want to be cooking it on a very high heat, medium to high. You just want to be sweating out your vegetables. So you don't exactly want to be browning it. Always be careful on the sides of your pan. That's where the onions and everything starts to burn first, especially if you are using a gas stove. So we just want to sweat all those natural flavors of the garlic and onion out. Right, at this stage, I actually like to throw in my rosemary, fresh rosemary chopped. Can you smell that already, Chef? Mia. Mamma mia. Definitely, I want to hear more of that today. Mamma mia. Right, so that is busy sweating out beautifully. Right, we'll just give it a few more seconds. Then we're going to throw in our carrots. I've chopped everything nice and fine. Okay, all those flavors are just going to be nicely caramelized and coming out, which is fantastic. Right, so that's going lovely. From there, I'm going to throw in my celery. That's looking great. All those lovely colors, all those interesting flavors already coming out. I can already smell it. Especially that fresh rosemary in there. It really does just infuse it very nicely. Right, so we just want to give that an awesome little stir. Keep going for about a minute or two. Right, so like I said, you don't want to give it any color. You just want to sweat it. Releasing all those natural sugars. You can actually smell it. Right, great. That is looking great, chef. Okay, so from there now, I'm going to be throwing in my mince. Great. Okay, now with your mince, I do suggest if you do use beef mince, you want to use a beef mince that is around 80% meat, 20% fat. You do want a little bit of fat in there. It always does add a little bit of extra flavor. Right, so now when you cook this up, you can see that obviously the mince was actually pink. So you want to cook it until you don't see any more pink in there. It must be nice and toasted. Nicely sauteed. That's it, chef. Look at that. Right, cook it out. And especially if you've got a little bit of fat in there, that will start to leak out. And that will be your telltale sign. Once you start seeing it actually sweating a little bit of the liquid out, that's when you know you're pretty much done and you can start with the next phase. Right, that's looking great. Almost there, a few more seconds to go. Okay, so that's almost there. That's looking great already. Now, what we're going to be doing next, as you can see in the pot, there's hardly any more pink happening. I'd like it a little bit more toasted. But once we get it a little bit more toasted, I know we are good to go. As long as you don't see any pink. Okay. So already I can you start seeing some of that liquid already coming out, chef? Yes, chef. That means we're close there. We're close to it. All right, so yes, the meat still looks a little bit on the pale side, but it is already a little bit cooked. Okay, so this is where I'm going to be throwing in my tomato paste. Right, so now you're just going to want to mix that tomato paste in there. Right, that's going to give it some awesome flavor, but you want to actually burn a little bit of that tomato paste at the bottom. Right, and just give it a little bit of flavor. Right, so you just want to cook it for at least 30 odd seconds. That will be perfect. Okay, oh, can you smell that already? I mean, literally 2 minutes of cooking and I'm already getting hungry again. Okay, that looks great. Right, so we're just going to want to, oh, that's looking so good. I'm just going to turn that down just a little bit less now. So you want to be hearing that sound of actually cooking. Yeah? Shouldn't just be simmering away. You want to be hearing it. That tomato, look how that color has already changed. Looking great. Okay, from there, this is where you're going to be adding in your whole peeled tomato. Right? Let's be gentle with that. Don't make too many splashes there, chef. It's Italian cooking, yeah? You gotta feel the food. There's nothing like Italian cooking. I love Italian food so much. Grew up with Italian food. Had many Italian friends. So I was always over at their house with the nonnas, meaning their grandmothers and moms. So definitely Italian food is one of my most favorites, to be honest. And working as well in a lot of Italian restaurants in my career, it just really, I've got a very, very big love for Italian cooking. Right, so we'll let that just simmer away just for a few seconds, maybe like 30 seconds or more. Right, then I've got some beef stock. All right, so the beef stock is also going to go in, and then we are literally going to be cooking this for anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour 15 minutes, depending on your quantity that you are making. Right, today we're not making that much, we're just making a good one portion lasagna, so I've got about 220 grams of meat. So even speaking about beef stock, you can use beef stock. I prefer using some beef stock. If you want to use chicken stock, you may. Veg stock, you may. Water, not a problem. It's all up to you and what you have at the end of the day. Right, so I'm going to be adding in my beef stock now. Right, traditional ragu. Even how we're making this, some Italian people would say that you would cook it out for at least 3 to 4 hours. Wow, on a very, very low heat. You just imagine all those flavors that will come out of there. So don't be scared. It might look a little bit watery now, but obviously in the next hour or so, it will be nice and juicy and all those flavors will come out, and that will be ready for a great pasta or even your lasagna, as we're going to be using it for today, and you will not go wrong. Right, so I'm going to leave that on a low temperature now, right, just simmering away. I actually have made some already, okay, so we'll be using the one that I've actually made. So, Chef, you just want to put that away for me there. Right, so next what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be starting with my bechamel sauce. All right, so like I said, I've got equal parts flour, I've got equal parts butter, I've got my onion with my bay leaf and my cloves stuck into my onion, right, and my milk. So for my milk, I'm going to be throwing that in my pot. Okay. Whoa, that's a bit there. That's beautiful. All right. Now, even with your milk, guys, you do not want to overboil or even boil your milk. Okay. Boiling milk obviously is 100 degrees Celsius. You just want it to get to around, I would say, a good 85 degrees. All right. I'm going to be throwing in my bay leaf. One bay leaf in there is perfect. And then I'm going to be throwing in my little onion and my cloves in there. Right, so that's actually 4. Now an onion flute. Right, so that's all the flavors of the bay leaf, the cloves, the onions. It's all going to infuse into the milk, and that's going to just make it super, super yummy. Right. So now we can start with our bechamel. So I'm going to be making a roux now. Okay, so I've got my equal parts butter, equal parts flour. The recipe I have shared with you says 10 grams of butter, 10 grams of flour. I've tripled this recipe only so you can actually see it nicely on camera. But for this recipe, for the lasagna, you only really actually need 10 grams of each, and then obviously 200 mils of milk. Right, so grab us a little whisk there, Shake. Whisk will be great. And give me a spoon here quickly. Great. Okay, so throwing in my butter. Whoops, that was actually very hot there, Chef, already. So let's give that a go. That's gone on. That was a little bit hot there, Chef. Bring that other pot there and we'll just replace that quickly. Perfect. Pop that over there. So I just actually need a little bit more butter now. Right, butter is in. You can use a little bit of, that was a bit hot there, Chef. Okay, so our butter will go in. We're going to be throwing in our flour. Mix that up there. Okay, so we're going to be creating a roux now. Okay, throw in just a little bit of fat in there, just to make it all roux. So you get 3 different types of roux. You get a white roux, you get a a brown roux, use the spoon there just for now, chef. A brown roux, a white roux, and you get a blonde roux. So you use them all for 3 different sauces that we make, right? Today for the bechamel, we will be using the white roux. Okay, once the roux actually comes away from the pan, that is your telltale sign that your milk is actually should start going in. You may actually put your roux to one side, okay, and then we can add in our milk. Right, so the milk is nicely warm now. Okay, please pass me that spoon over there. We'll just take that out. Perfect, chef. Fantastic, that can go away. Okay, so now I'm just going to be taking out my onion flutes and my bay leaf. Okay, throw that out. And now I am just going to be adding my milk into my jug. It just makes everything a lot easier to work with. Right, perfect. That can go away there, chef. Great. Right, at this stage, I'll just wait for Chef Bear to bring me that whisk back, or you can actually start whisking, not a problem. Right, this is where you're going to start adding in that milk. Right. Right, and you're just going to whisk away, whisk away. Whisk, 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 whisk. Keep going, get all those lumps out. Right. And then you actually put it on a little bit of a low heat. And you cook that flour out for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Add your seasoning. Then I suggest you actually strain it near the end. Right, if there are little lumps in there, everything will come out. Right, always put it on a little bit of a low heat. You don't want to burn the bottom of your pan, and then all the flour actually sticks to the bottom and then starts to burn. Right, so that is great. That's going to go in. That's going to be for the next 10 odd minutes. Right, you can see everything is starting to dissolve here, chef. Let's check. Right, even when you look over to the bolognese, you'll see a little bit of impurities coming out. You may always just give that a little bit of a skim. That's not a problem. You don't want to have it on too high. Right, I'm actually going to put it down. Great. Okay, that's looking great. Okay, so Chef Benji will give that a little bit of skim once in a while, and he will continue just stirring this. You don't have to continue stir all the time for the next 10 minutes. Just every minute to 2 minutes, go there and actually just give it a nice little stir. All right, and you actually start seeing that the bechamel starts getting a little bit thicker. All right, so let's get started onto our fresh pasta. Okay, so I'm going to go basic with you. I've got 100 grams of flour, I've got some olive oil, and I've got an egg. That's all you need, and a little bit of salt. I had some salt in here, perfect, and some salt. Okay, so I'm just going to put on some gloves quickly, and then we can get started. So, making lasagna, you may obviously make fresh pasta. You don't need to. You may use dried pasta out of the box. That is not a problem. Okay, I do suggest even with the dried pasta, you actually blanch it. You know, get some boiling water on there, put a little bit of salt in that water, and just blanch that, the dried pasta up to about 25 seconds. Just dip it in there, take it out, and start making your lasagna. It makes it a lot easier when it cooks, especially when you put the cheese on top. And then you pop it in the oven. You don't want the cheese to actually burn on top, and then obviously your pasta isn't cooked in the middle. So blanching it just for a quick little 25, 30 seconds. Once the cheese is actually melted, obviously because your bolognese is already cooked, so you know, you don't need that much time in the oven. Normally 12 to 15 minutes, a lasagna should be done. All right, so now I've got my flour. Throw my flour there. Great. Right. Make a little swirl. Make a little hole there. Right. You got your egg. Crack your egg open. Pop that in the middle. What I do actually suggest to a lot of my students is with the egg, I like to actually crack it in a bowl first, right? Just to check if the egg is actually fresh, yeah? Just like it might have a little blood spots or anything in there. Then you pop it in the middle and then you have to throw your whole mix away and start again. So I do suggest that you pop your egg in a bowl and then throw it in. Right, so I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil. Throw a little bit of olive oil in there. Right, that's perfect. Happy with that. Now I'm going to take a little pinch of salt. Throw the salt in there. Great. That can go away, chef. Okay, turn your bechamel down. You don't want it on too much of a boil. Okay, put that away, chefy. Thank you. Right, now I like to use a spoon. You may use a fork. Right. Just mix that all up together. Right, once it's actually mixed, okay, be careful not to break it open or else all your mixture is going to go everywhere. Okay, take a little bit of flour in there, mix it all up. Great, it starts getting a little bit thicker and thicker and thicker. Right, mix it all up, mix it all up. This with the spoon is a lot easier in the beginning, just get it all nice and chunky. Right, then you're going to get in there and use the best tools in cooking, which is your hands. Okay, so that's looking great. Right, once I get to that stage, I really like to put that away. Please take that from me. Right, put your flour in. Right, start playing around with it. And it's actually quite fun. I love making fresh pasta. I've been making fresh pasta since I was a little child. It's a lot of fun, especially when you start playing around with it and actually start making different flavors. Yeah, so this is obviously your basic yellow, right? But if you want, you can, add spinach in there and you start getting green pasta. You can add tomato, go red. You can add beetroot if you want to start going to the red on the purple side. So you can see everything starts coming together. Now, this is where let all that flour, get it in there, and with the palm of your hand, you're going to squeeze, start getting in there. Obviously with 100 grams, as I'm doing now, you can do it with one hand, that's not a problem. After that, connect everything. It's a lot easier. Once you start going on to the 500 grams, it becomes a little bit more difficult, a little bit more of a workout. Look at that, everything's connected there. Lovely. Right, obviously, like I said, if you start going up to 500 grams, then you need to get a good stance and you start working it with both hands, getting it in there. Yeah, you don't want to overwork your pasta either. Right, with this one, I could actually just do it with one hand. Fold it over and squeeze, fold over and squeeze. Right, with the palm of your hand, fold over. Right, I do like doing it with two. It's quite fun. Can be a workout if you have to make a whole bunch of this, right? Some people say, they go for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes of playing with their pasta. Right? No need. You go until it gets a little bit harder, and then you just drop it, pop a hole in it. As long as it bounces back at you, you know you are winning. Right, so I've got about 10 seconds left of doing this. You want to cut me down? You don't play the shit. All right, so my pasta is great. If I poke it, it's bouncing up at me. Do you see that, Chef?
Yes, Chef.
Yeah. All right, so now this is where I'm going to just fold it, just like so. Right, I get some plastic wrap. I would wrap it and then pop it in my fridge for anywhere from 20 minutes to 30 minutes is fine. If you wrap it nicely and you actually cover it, you can keep it up to tomorrow, up to 2-3 days, to be honest. All right, but it has to be stored correctly. So be careful with that, guys. If you don't wrap it correctly, and store it correctly, you come back tomorrow and you're going to start getting little black spots everywhere. All right, so Chef, do you want to get the one outside the fridge that I've made already? Okay, so that one is delicious. Okay, yeah, you don't need to open. I'll open that up. Thank you, Chef. So this one I actually made earlier. It's been in the fridge for the past hour, to be honest. So it's nice and hard. Okay, let me throw that away. I'm going to be using, very spoiled, I'm going to be using a pasta machine, right, electric. A lot of times in the places that I've worked, I've always had to use one connected to the table, make tortellinis, raviolis, all of it. A little bit of a mission, to be honest. It can be fun, but can be a little bit on the hard working job to actually get it done. Just want to plug this in for me, Chef, there. Right, so now I've got my pasta over here. Open it up. You can see it's a lot harder. Okay, so all I'm going to do here, just going to play with it a little. Yeah. I did have some flour, Chef. Just want to pass me that flour at the back there, please, for me. Right, you just want to squash it. Obviously, if you are fortunate enough to have an electric pasta machine at home, then awesome. Otherwise, you'll be using the one that's actually connected to the table, and you have to roll it out yourself. Nothing wrong with that. You'll go up to the 4th or 5th level. All right. So sprinkle a little bit of flour. Don't overdo it. Right. A little bit of flour. Let that go. Try actually make it, because obviously we're going to be starting on level 0. So level 0 is not very thick, if that makes sense. All right. So you have to actually get it through the first layer, or else it won't go through, and then it'll just get stuck, and you're going to have a little bit of a mission. Right. So that's looking good. So I'm going to switch this on. Not going to put it on too much of a high. Let's have a little bit of fun with it. Now, Chef, give that a little stir on the bolognese side. So I'm going to start on level 0. When doing pasta, you always want to actually roll it out twice. Right, so that's once. We'll go again. Number 2. Great. Right, you can always take a little bit of flour, just give it a little light dust. Yeah. What I like to actually do, I just like to trim the edges off a little bit, just because I want a little bit of a square. Okay, so just so everything actually comes out quite even. Right. So I'm going to go on to level 1 now. Level 1. That's going to go through. Go through the second time. Awesome. Pop it back down. Give it a light little dust. Both sides. Little light dust. Go on to level 2. Great. Go again. It just starts getting longer and longer and longer. Great. You don't always have to put flour. If you feel as you've got enough flour on there, like I think I'm fine for now, I'll go on to level 3. We'll just start seeing this get longer and longer and a lot fatter. Great. Okay, that's going. Give it a little light dust. Turn it over. Give it another little light dust. Go on to level 4. I'm going to increase the speed a little bit now. Okay. Number 4. So it is a little time consuming, making fresh pasta, but at the end of the day, it is all worth it. I promise you. Buying a pasta machine is definitely a great investment. You don't need to have electric, I promise you. Right, on to our last level, number 5. You can see how long this is getting. It's all up to you how thick you would actually want to make your pasta. But I like going up until number 5. It's a good 0.5 millimeter thick, which is good. Right, I'm just going to go one last one. Then we are golden. Right, so now I've got my pasta laid out beautifully. Chef Benjamin, can you please take this machine away from here, please? There we are. Okay, a little bit of a dust of flour again. Right, it's just a little dust, just so it doesn't stick to anything. Thank you, Chef. Have you got it? Fantastic. Right, so that will go on there now. That's looking great. Little dust. Turn it over. You can see how nice and flexy it is. Looking great. I can play with it. It's not sticking everywhere. It's beautiful. Nice color as well. Right, give it another little dust. Great. Happiness. Right, I'm just going to square it up. Square it up. Great. Throw that in the bin. Boom, good shots. Right, now I'm going to be using my traditional pasta dish. Yeah, I'm going to make a small one today. Pretty much it's going to be lunch. I think so. Right, what I like to do, I actually just like to use like either a little ruler, just know how much, exactly how big you need to cut it. There's nothing worse than obviously cutting your pasta and it's not the right size, which it doesn't really matter. I mean, even when you use dry pasta and you're using an awkward dish, you know, you put your pieces out and then all of a sudden you've got a few pieces missing there. You just crack and make it work. Okay? Lasagna can be very rustic as well, which is fantastic. Right, so I know how much I need to do. What I'm going to do here, I'm just going to neaten it out for myself. Right, obviously, as you see the lasagna dish, okay, it goes from small to big. So don't always cut it the smaller, go small for the bottom and give it 1 extra centimeter as it starts going up, yeah? Okay, so first one I'm about there. Second one, I will go about there. Third one, I'll go about there. That seems good for me. Fourth one, let's make it big. Let's try to get 5 layers in here. 5 layers. If I can get 5 layers, I'm a very happy soldier. Right, so I've got my lasagna cut out now. Right, you can see it's all nice. Then we leave that on the side. Great. Okay. That'd be awesome. This I'll even just keep. You never know. Maybe I might just leave a little piece there or there in case I run out. No problem. Right, so like I said, our bolognese is going to go for a good hour to an hour and a half. So we don't have that long. So I've already pre-made it. Our bolognese, our bechamel is almost there. So I actually like to use my bechamel as a cold bechamel. Yeah, I just find it's a lot easier to work with. And then once you can use the warm bolognese on top, that's not a problem. But once you use the warm bechamel and the hot bolognese and the mixes together, you sort of get this creamy kind of mixture going on. So I like the bechamel to actually be a little bit cold. So I have already made it, as you can see. Okay, so I've got my bolognese, which look at that color, it's just absolutely stunning, right? I've got my mozzarella cheese, my parmigiano, and I have my bechamel. Now you might be wondering, why do I have cling wrap over my bechamel? Okay, so just say you do make your bechamel in the morning and you're only going to assemble your lasagna in the afternoon. The best thing to do is you put your bechamel, even in your pot, it doesn't matter, take it off once it's done and seasoned, then take your cling wrap and actually put it on top of your sauce. And the cling wrap must actually be touching that sauce. And what this is going to do, it's going to prevent it from making a skin. There's nothing worse from leaving your bechamel out, come back an hour later, then you have this whole skin on top of your bechamel. At the end of the day, you lose 25% as soon as you try to skim that off. So the best thing to do is actually just keep a little bit of cling wrap on top, right? And then obviously you just rip it off when you actually need it. And look at that. No skin whatsoever, which is great. Okay, so yeah, just dry my hands there. Right, so what I like to do first, I like to take a little bit of my bechamel. Look at that bechamel, that's just great. Okay, as soon as I was done, like I said, I strained it. This is actually cold already, and it's just at a perfect consistency for me. Right, so I'm going to take a little bit of my bechamel. and throw it in the bottom of my pan, of my lasagna dish. Right? Do not put too much. Just put a little bit. It's all up to you at the end of the day. Right, I'm going to take my first one, which is my smallest one, right, and I'm going to put that in. Great. So that is in. I like to, everyone does this a little bit different. I'm going to show you my way. Right? I like just to throw just a little bit of bechamel, just lightly coat that lasagna sheet, that pasta sheet. Just lightly coat it. Then I'm going to go with my, that can go away, and that can both go away. Thank you so much, Chef. Right, now I'm going to go with my bolognese. Right, so I'm going to throw that in. Don't overstack it. Right. Overstack it and you will not be able to complete your lasagna. Right? You want a few layers, at least 4 layers. Not 3 layers in a lasagna dish like this. That's just a little bit sad. So you want a little bit of layers in your lasagna. Deeper the lasagna, you can go up to 7 layers if you like. Right, that's perfect. What I like doing sometimes is even taking a little bit of bechamel and just lightly just dab it, just around, just a little, that's enough. Just saying like that. You remember doing this in class?
Yes, Chef.
Everyone was so happy that day. Right, take another piece of your lasagna, your pasta sheet, put it on. That fits beautifully. Right, take some more bechamel, throw it on. Not too much, yeah? Just lightly coat that. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Looking good, Chef.
Is it looking good?
Yeah.
Are we going to share this later?
First,
Yeah, I don't know. I think I might just eat it all for myself. Right, so we're going to throw in some more bolognese there. Yeah, like I said, not too much, guys. Pop it in. It's looking great. Okay. Awesome. Pop that in. Now, what a lot of people like to do, one of my friends is nonnas. They used to love actually putting pancetta in the middle, right? They even used to put some eggplant in the middle. It's more of a Sicily kind of thing to do. But oh my goodness, so good to eat as well. All right, what I'm going to do here, I'm actually just going to steal a little bit of my basil leaves from my minestrone. I'm actually just going to throw just a little couple of pieces of basil in there. Right, this basil is just going to infuse this lasagna a little bit. It really does make a difference at the end. I didn't put it in the recipe. I apologize, but this is one of Chef's little tricks. All right, so a little bit of basil there. Then I'm going to throw in another sheet of my lasagna. So as you can see, I cut them up a little bit bigger. The dish is going up. So don't go cut them all exactly the same size, or else near the end, you will not be filling up your lasagna. So always just be a little bit wary of that. Right, another bechamel in there. Yes. I love making lasagnas, guys. I've made a few different ones. Obviously, you can make a chicken lasagna if you like. If you want, you could make a vegetable lasagna. That is not a problem. Right? A little bit more bechamel in there. That's looking great. Take a little bit more of my bolognese, throw that in there. Move that all aside. Right, like I said, it's a very rustic looking dish. So if you make a little bit of a mess, don't worry about it. It's part of the dish. Okay. That is looking great. Look at that color of that bolognese. This I actually cooked for about an hour and a half, to be honest. So it actually cooked for a little bit of time. Okay, over here I'm just going to throw in this is one of my mom's little secrets, which I just, every time I make a lasagna, I even tell the students to do it sometimes. Some listen, some don't. It's up to them, really. Right, throw that in. Last one. Yes. Right, how many layers are we on, Chef? We're on the 4th one, no?
Yes.
Okay, push it down a little. Go again, a little bit of bechamel. So this is quite fun to actually make. Yeah, if you're making a big one, it can take a little bit of time. That's not a problem. At the end of the day, it is all worth it. Just don't overflow it, don't overkill it. Right, at this stage, you could even stop and throw in a whole bunch of cheese. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky, and I'm going to go one more layer. Put a little layer. Right, so I want to use that last little one there. So, like I said, I'm being cheeky. I'm taking chances, but it's fine. I don't really want to waste too much. Okay. Of course, even in between your layers, you could be throwing in some Parmesan. Yeah, that's not a problem. Just be careful. Sometimes Parmesan can be a little bit salty, right? So just be careful with your meat. If you do make it a little bit salty, and then you keep throwing Parmesan on top in between the layers, which is very traditional. I love it. I was actually supposed to do it. You can throw just a little bit in there just for giggles, right? But between the layers, you can always throw a little bit in there. It's actually very beautiful. Right. I'm going to be mixing my mozzarella and Parmesan together near the end. Right. So this one I'm just stretching out a little bit. This is going to be my last layer. Great. So now for your last layer, guys, this is where the magic happens. I'm going to throw a little bit more bechamel in there. Right. You can coat that all up. Put it up in there. And then this is where we are going to be throwing our cheese on top. Now, you may just throw Parmesan on top. That's not a problem. I love using mozzarella and Parmesan mixed together. I just find that, especially if you make a very big lasagna, right, the next day that you actually, once you eat it, that once you actually slice it up and cut it up, that mozzarella just melts in the microwave or the oven that you are warming it up in. So it becomes great. Right, now you're throwing your mozzarella. A little bit of mozzarella in there. Throwing a little bit of Parmigiano in there. A little bit of both. It's going to be so yummy. Right, throw a little bit more mozzarella on top. Cheese, cheese, cheese. I'm a cheese person. I really love cheese. Now, Chef, you just want to pass me some oregano over there? Okay, look at that. So that fits perfectly in my dish. Right, so I've got a little bit of oregano. I've just got this thing I learned from one of my friends, Lorna's, that every time you use mozzarella, always throw a little bit of dried oregano on top of it, and you're just going to get this wicked flavor. Right, so there is my lasagna. Look at that. It's nice. You can see all the layers in between. Right, so this is finished now. Okay, so this can all go away now, Chef. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be throwing this into the oven 175 to 180 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes, yeah? And then I'll put it on for 12 minutes, see where we are. Might need that extra 3 minutes, which is not a problem. So always put 12 minutes, see where you are, and then put it on the extra 3, yeah? All right, Chef. So can you pop that in the oven for us? Thank you so much. Right, so I made this easy. All I do, I just peel this away, and now I've got a brand new clean table. So one little thing we like to use in the kitchen is always work smart, not hard, yeah? Okay, so that is going. This can be on the side now. We'll carry on cooking this. This is not a problem. Right, so this will even go to the side. That's cool. Right, so now, where is that other pot of mine? Benji, yes, sir. Can you just grab me that other pot over there quickly? Right, so let me go through my ingredients for my minestrone. Lots of ingredients. It's no joke. Yeah? But before we do that, let's go into a poll, guys. Over to you, Shanaz. Shanaz there? I think
yeah, we're just putting on the pot. Yeah.
There we are. Good day, Shanaz.
So I put out the poll for them. It's a bit of a trivia, and it's worked very well for us, Chef.
Okay.
So all of them, the changing. Okay, so 87% has chosen Bologna, and 9% have chosen Sicily.
Okay. Interesting. I understand why they would actually choose Bologna, all right, because Bolognese, Bologna, all right. So the correct answer is actually Nepali, okay, Nepal's. So traditionally what we're making now is more of a south of Italy style, out of Italy Bolognese, all right. So we're using more of a Napolitana sauce, all right. It's more of a Napolitana tomato sauce. Rather than in Bologna, they like to use more fat in there. They like to add a little bit more pork, and they like to add wine in there, which we're not adding. So yes, great question. I love that question because it's a little bit of a trick question for them. But traditionally, Bolognese, when making lasagna, is definitely a Nepali dish. So correct answer is Nepal's.
Chef, I'm kind of smiling because you said Nepal. You mean Nepal?
Nepal's, tomato, flour. It's my accent, what can I say? All right. So let's pop that over there. All right, so is that it? So everyone got that pretty much wrong. Good trick question, I really like that. So let's go on to making our minestrone. Right, so minestrone traditionally means pretty much a thick tomato soup, yeah? So our ingredients are, lots of ingredients, onions, leeks, celery, tomato, garlic, cabbage, whole tomato, concassate tomato, we got potatoes, we got our pasta, our zucchini and beans, parmigiano, and chicken stock. So lots happening here, lots of different flavors, yeah?
Yes, Chef.
Good. All right, so let's get started. We're going to throw in a little bit of olive oil in our pan. Great. We're going to start off with our onions. Stuff. Okay, we're going to sweat that out a little bit. We can add in our leeks, same time. We can add in our celery, same time. Add in our carrots, same time. Okay, and add in our garlic at this stage as well. So what we're doing now, we're just going to be sweating it all out, and all those natural flavors come out, yeah? The reason why I love minestrone so much is because there's no real recipe to a minestrone. It's at the end of the day, you can put whatever you have in your fridge into a minestrone. A lot of different regions around Italy, some put beef in there, some put, sausages in there, chicken. Doesn't really matter. Everything that you have in there, you just pop into it, and you just make this lovely soup, which is so delicious and so healthy as well, and really holds well in your fridge, so you can actually use it for quite a few days, to be honest. Some people like it a little bit more brothy. Some people like it a little bit more chunky. Today we're going to go between chunky and brothy. All right, so it's going to be nice and chunky, but with a little bit of soup happening as well, not just so dry. When it comes to the pasta, I like using a thin pasta like angel pasta, right? Some people like throwing spaghetti in there. Some people throw in larger pieces of pasta, even fresh pasta. That's not a problem. At the end of the day, it's your soup. So you make it how you like. Right, so that's smelling good again. All those natural flavors coming out. Yeah? That's it. Okay. Now, I like throwing in my cabbage. You can throw your cabbage in a little bit later, so I'll skip that for now. Right. Let's throw in our concassate tomato. in there. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia. I like it. But sometimes mamma mia could be because you're in trouble. Say, oh, mamma mia, what have you done? But today I'll take mamma mia as, ooh, this is smelling good. Right. So that's all sweating out lovely. We will throw in our whole peeled tomatoes. Yes. Look at that go. Look at that go. Now let those flavors come together. Now we'll be adding in our, let's let that just infuse a little bit just for a few seconds. Right, look at that, that's looking great. You don't want it on too much of a high heat. Also, you don't want to cook the soup for too long. You cook it for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and you might actually overcook everything and actually just make a very sloppy soup. So you actually want a little bit of a crunch. Meaning not raw, but you want a little bit of a al dente-ish to it. Right, so at this stage, this is when we're going to throw in our chicken stock. Right, let that come. Right. Oh, that is going to be so good. Okay, so now we're just going to let that simmer away for the next 3 to 4 minutes. Then we will add in our rest of our ingredients, like our cabbage first. In the next 2 minutes, we'll add in our cabbage once it actually comes to a decent boil. Then after that, we are going to be adding in our potatoes and we'll be adding in our pasta, same time, yeah. We'll give that a good 3 to 4 minutes. Then we will be adding in our zucchini and our beans. And then we will finish it up with some seasoning and garnishing it with some Parmigiano and some basil leaves on top. Sometimes we actually like to make a little bit of a chili oil or a basil pesto, and you can actually pass it around your soup. Right, so that's looking good. Let's give that a little bit more fire there. Right, this can go away, chef. Thank you. Right. So, give that a nice little stir. It's looking good. Obviously, the soup will start getting a lot thicker because of the pasta and our potatoes. You will see this in the next few minutes. Right, let that come up. Let that cook for a minute or two. Great, this is such a lovely soup, guys. If you have this soup first, your belly will be nice and warm. You'll be satisfied. Then jump on straight onto a lasagna, and sure, you will hit that couch so hard you're going to fall asleep for a few hours, most definitely. Right, you like that, Ben?
Yes, chef.
Okay, are you going to cook this for your family soon? Of course. No, you better. All right, so now the boil has come up. That's what we're looking for, that beautiful boil. Right, this stage, I'm going to throw in, I'm going to leave my cabbage. Cabbage, depends how thinly you slice your cabbage. But I've cut it very small. I've cut it into nice thin chiffonade. Right, so this can cook in 2 to 3 minutes. So you could add it in if you make big chunks. Normally, traditionally, we make paysanne cuts. So paysanne cuts, I actually like to call them mommy cuts, the traditional mommy or grandmom cuts. Right, it's when you cut like a carrot in half and then you just slice it down. Paysanne, all right, your traditional mommy cut. So I've gone paysanne. I've gone into a little bit of a square paysanne today. Right, I like the chunkiness of it. Okay, so the chiffonade cabbage, I'm going to leave a little bit to the end. I think in the recipe I wrote you could add it right about now, but because I sliced it and I want that little bit of chunk and crunchiness to my soup, I'm going to add it at the end. Okay, at this stage, I'm just going to drain this quickly. Great, okay, my potatoes, obviously I put in some water, right, I don't want oxidation to start and make my potatoes start going all black. Okay, so add my potatoes in there. Great. Right, and at the same time that you add your potatoes, depending on the pasta that you're using, okay, I'm using nice angel pasta, which is great. That's right, perfect. right? You can also use spaghetti, right? I actually know a very traditional way of doing spaghetti. Put spaghetti inside a cloth, yeah? Put about so much, you know, maybe like 20 strands, depending on how much you're doing. Put it in a tablecloth, put it in, roll it up, go to the edge of the table, and break it all the way down, and you're going to get beautiful, even little cuts of spaghetti rather than trying to break it, yeah? So put it in the cloth, put your spaghetti in, roll it up, go to a good edge of the table where it's nice and straight, start at the bottom, floats all the way down, and you'll get perfect little pieces. Maybe I should have actually done that. It could have been pretty cool. But today I'm going to be using angel pasta, which I love. Right? I'm going to throw in my pasta. Right. I've seen people make it with big pasta. Wouldn't really throw in like penne pasta, but shell pasta, ziti, all of those actually work. Okay. So we'll pump that up a little bit. That is looking good. It's smelling good already. Okay, so we'll let that go for a few more minutes. We will add some salt and pepper at this stage. I had some salt somewhere here, Chef. Can you find that for me? Is that salt there? No? I had some salt. I think it might be on the trolley there. I'm going to add some pepper in there. Right, some coarse black pepper. Would be great. Thank you so much, Chef. Right, add some salt. You always have a little taste at the end. Just remember, when adding salt, you can always add salt. You can never take salt out. So always be careful when adding salt to your dish, right? There's nothing worse than tasting your dish and being like, oh, I've added too much salt. Yeah, always add a little pinch, have a taste. Does it need more? Add a little bit more. And not only that, there's always salt on the table. I like to say that. There's always salt on the table. Right. So, let's us take a quick little look at our lasagna. Oh, we are looking so good. This lasagna is out of this world. Okay, so those potatoes will be pretty much done now. Okay, I'm going to add in my zucchini, baby marrow, however you call it around the world. Right, that can go in. I'm going to add my cabbage at this stage. A little bit of green beans. Look at that, nice and chunky. If you start to see that your soup is maybe a little bit too chunky for your liking and you want to add a little bit of liquid, no problem. Add a little bit of more liquid in it. That is not the problem. Right. So, as I said, if you want to add a little bit more liquid, I'm going to add just a little bit more liquid in there. Yeah, and just to let that all cook, because the soup's going to get naturally a lot thicker because of those potatoes. Now, for our end products, I've got my soup bowl, and I've got a lovely plate over here, right? And now you guys are just going to get blown away, because now I'm going to be taking out our lasagna, and when you guys see this color, and I can really smell the lasagna out the oven, it's just smelling absolutely amazing. Okay, so let me pop this out. Look at that, guys. Oh, wow. Look at that. Pop that on the plate. Obviously, let it rest just for a few minutes. Yeah, don't dig in straight away, because literally you're going to burn your tongue. Yeah, but look at that. Beautiful color on top. Guaranteed. I'm not going to be popping this out of the dish. All right. Traditionally, you could pop it out. If I made a big dish, you'll be slicing it up, taking it up, putting it on a plate. I like to leave it traditionally like this. Let it rest for a few minutes, 3 to 4 to 5 minutes. Then you can actually start digging in. I might actually just get a fork and actually go like this, so you can see that strand of mozzarella, how that is just going to blow your life away. Right, let me close the door here quickly. Great. So, grab me one spoon there over there, chef, for us. Let me have a little taste of our minestrone. Right, so a lot of you actually sent me, tagged me on Instagram, which I'm so grateful for. Thank you, about the paella from last week. Yeah, very, very happy. I love the pictures that you guys sent. Absolutely awesome. So I really hope that you guys will try this lasagna. Tag me in it again on Instagram or the Minestrone. I was so happy to see that, really. And some of you really made beautiful paellas, I have to admit. Almost competing against mine. Almost. Okay, let's have a little bit of a taste. We are there. I don't even need to put in more seasoning. How about that special touch, hey, chef? All right, so our lasagna looks great. Minestrone soup is close to being done. Yeah, I'm going to give it another minute or so. Then we will plate that up. So, look at that. Look at all those chunkiness. Look at that vegetables all in there. We've got the liquid. It just pops down. That is great. But mostly that chunkiness. That's what the minestrone is all about. Right? You can see that the pasta is already cooked. Those potatoes are cooked. All the vegetables in there are cooked. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Truly, truly happy with this. I'm going to start serving it. Right. So, straight from the pot, straight into the saucepan. Yes, please, sir. More like, yes, please, chef. Right. Put that in. It's up to you how chunky you want to leave it. Right. I'm going to fill it up. This is quite a big portion if I were to serve this in the restaurants. Definitely get your money's worth. Grab a little bit extra of that sauce. Throw that around. I want to see some of those vegetables. Right, that can go away. That goes over there. Take a little bit of Parmigiano. Sprinkle that on top. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Take a little piece of basil. 2 little pieces. Right, you can even deep fry your basil if you want to be exotic. Pop that in there. Put that there. And we have completed our 3rd episode. So we have our beautiful traditional lasagna and we have our minestrone soup from Italy, 2 of my favorites. And what can I say? I can't wait to dig in and try this out. I'm sure Ms. Shanaz might be answering a lot of questions, but I'll just say there might be a few questions about the minestrone, so let's hear them. Over to you, Shanaz.
So, chef, can you give them just a small brief of how you can make a good vegetarian lasagna with probably roast vegetables and things like that? Because we also have vegetarians who watch this show.
Okay, so vegetarian lasagna, I would suggest that you make a nice pomodoro sauce, like a nice tomato sauce or an napolitana sauce. You know, even if it's a celery, onions, carrots, sweat that out, add your whole peeled tomatoes, you know, cook that tomato sauce out, some fresh herbs, and then blitz up your tomato sauce so you have like a tomato ragu on the side. Then it's up to you what vegetables you like to use. Eggplant, peppers, zucchini, anything green, yellow. Roast a little bit of your vegetables. And then if you want to actually be very creative and exotic, when you actually make your pasta, you could be using spinach pasta, beetroot pasta. And the way you do that, 100 grams of flour, right, to 1 egg. 1 egg always weighs between 50 grams to 55, 60 grams, depending on the size of egg you're using. With the size of egg that you're using, weigh it first. If it comes up to 55 grams, great. You know it's 55 grams to 100 grams of flour. Put that in a jug. Put a little bit of spinach in there, 1 egg, and blitz it up. Yeah. Then strain it. Then weigh that green liquid until you actually get 55 grams. Then add that into your pasta. That's going to turn pasta nice and green. Right? If you're using normal pasta, no problem. You can use dry pasta, blanch it, and start laying it up. Rather than putting your ragu or your bolognese sauce, start laying it up with vegetables. Yeah? So maybe 1 layer of peppers, 1 layer of zucchini, 1 layer of eggplants. Keep going with the bechamel, with the tomato sauce, with your pasta. and you keep going, keep going, keep going. And at the end, top it up with some beautiful cheese, and you got yourself one hell of an awesome vegetarian dish. Any other questions, ma'am?
Chef, that's it. You can sign off.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for being with us once again. Thank you, Chef Ben, for helping me out today. I hope that you have enjoyed these two recipes that I have shared with you. I hope you try this out and definitely cook this with your family or friends. And thank you for joining me on my episode number 3. Catch me next week, where I'll be taking you somewhere special again and sharing 2 lovely dishes with you. And thank you very much. Thank you to my team. Thank you to everyone for logging on and giving me your time. And thank you. God bless. See you next week.
Yes, eggplant as in Musaka Lakshmi, and lasagna, dry lasagna sheets can be boiled and used to make a lasagna. If you don't want to make the fresh pasta. Thank you, Sergio. Delicious and heartwarming food as always. Something that our viewers can reproduce no matter which part of the world they're watching from. Most of the food Chef Sergio has demonstrated is what we teach at ICCA, and hence this is actually a glimpse of our curriculum, which focuses on European cuisine, with the majority of recipes being French and Italian. Hope you enjoyed this demo and will try it out on your family and friends. Stay tuned for our next webinar with Chef Sabine on contemporary desserts on Sunday next. Same time, same place. Over to you, Karun.
Thank you, Chef Shanaz and Sergio, for this fantastic session. The soup looks hot, and definitely the lasagna is very cheesy, lots of cheese. A special cheat day, food indeed, to consume. For those who have missed out the complete session today, an email will soon follow with the replay video of this webinar, together with the handouts as well. We encourage you to reshare, recreate the recipe and share them on your social media platforms, and we will have them reshared on our platforms as well. We look forward to seeing you in the next session. Until then, goodbye from all of us here.